This is the time of the year where we take in the Automowers for their yearly service, and today I'd like to go through the service and show you what it entails. So the first thing we're going to do today is to strip down the Automower to get at the components to clean off all the grass, because as you can imagine, over a year a lot of grass builds up and gets stuck in a lot of the components, so we got to get in there and clean it out. Just undoing the wires to take the main body off. The middle one is an awkward one because you have two plug heads, so you have to be careful. The main thing here is not to pull the wires. What I'm doing now is I'm taking off the skid plate to get in at the blade, and under that you have the cutting disc, and just checking the bearings to make sure that the bearings are okay, because with all the grass and effluent and all the build up that happens throughout the year, these bearings tend to go. But this mower was only installed kind of mid-July time, so we should be okay to change the cutting bearings next year. So we took off the skid plates, and now we're just opening the Allen key of the actual cutting disc, and inside this housing, this is where the little there's two bearings inside the housing. So the next thing I'm going to do before I take off the cutting disc, I'm just going to change the blades. You can see the wear on the blades, so you can see the way the blade is kind of oval, the hole, so those blades need to be changed. The hole is going kind of oval there. Trying to compare that to a new one. I see the way you're getting your wear on the edges here. This is a nice clean square edge. The hole is rounded. You'll hear that click. So we're just checking underneath the skid plate to see is there anything. It's not too bad, there's a few little bits but nothing major. Sometimes it can be a lot worse. And as you go in here, you can see there's a lot more actual settled wet grass that's just left sitting there. The customer cleaned them more to a degree, but that's the thing with getting them in to the proper workshop, is that we want to clean all this here and get on a good degreaser and clean off all this dirt and residue that's built up on it. So once you've all the heavy grass moved off the mower, the next thing we're going to do is spray down the mower with degreaser. Now it's only a mist that's going on. It's very important with the Automowers. Never wash them. Don't feel that. Get the water on and give it a good wash, because you have all circuit boards and electrical components in there. So never ever wash the Automower. Something that just water cannot go near them, because you only do damage. So we'll put the degreaser on, leave it soak in for a couple of minutes, and then we'll come back and the grass and all the residue will just wipe off with a cloth. So that's the degreaser basically. Just give that a little rub in there, because you'll see it walking off with this if it's left on it just for a minute or two. Just make sure that all that grass and residue and all that wet, dirty grass is taken out of there. When you look in there, you see all the dirt and build up, so it's important to get all this out, because with the Automower, if there's an imbalance on it, the mower may stop and tell you there's an imbalance. So if you have a big build up of dirt and it gets lodged on one side, it's important just to keep it off it. Again, with any screws, just back it off first. You hear that little click, then go clockwise down. This Allen key, this needs a good squeeze, because this is holding the whole moving parts together, so a nice squeeze on that there. So we're just going to put the skid plate back on, and just something to know here I'd like to show. This here, you see this groove that's cut in here in the skid plate? This is a common problem we're seeing with people that's putting on the blades. What's actually happening here with the screw head is not down snug where it should be. So when the screw head is not down snug, it means it's sticking up a little bit. So if you can picture this sitting in where it should, what's happening is the screw head is rubbing off the skid plate, because the skid plate doesn't move necessarily. It moves independent to the actual cutting disc. So it's happening, the screw is up, constantly rubbing the skid plate. So what happens after a time, you see this groove that's cut in here? This groove becomes worse, and eventually that groove cuts right the way through the skid plate, and your skid plate has to be replaced. Okay, so now that we've the blade assembly all cleaned down and put back together, now we're going to degrease the rest of the machine inside the wheels. You see a lot of stain in here from the grass over the last number of months mowing. So we're just going to degrease the machine, leave the degreaser sit there for about maybe 5-10 minutes, and then come back and rub and clean down the mower. Now that the machine has been degreasing for the last 10 minutes or so, we're just going to come now and wipe down the mower. Just get it back nice and clean. Remove all that stained grass from the mower body. So that's the cleaning down of the Automower completed. The next phase we're going to do is update the software on the Automower and do an auto check, which we can show you in another video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. Any comments, questions, the local number is 1890 252 778, or check us out on greenfeet.ie.